You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith. Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Monday, April 15th, 2019. And as you might know, it is Holy Monday because we are in the last week of Lent, Holy Week. We're going to spend this week on the Catholic Sprouts podcast talking about Holy Week and all of the beautiful things and signs and symbols that you will see as you celebrate the liturgy this week. So today we are actually going to talk about what happened yesterday. Yesterday at Mass, we celebrated Palm Sunday or Passion Sunday. Now, there's a couple things that you probably noticed yesterday at Mass. The first one is palms. No matter where you celebrated Mass, you probably received a blessed palm at the beginning of the service. The other thing you probably noticed is that the gospel reading was really, really long. Palm Sunday is the first of a couple of liturgies this week where we will read the entire Passion account from the gospel. Now, by the Passion, I mean it is the entire story of the suffering and death of Jesus Christ. We read through all of the questioning that he goes through before the high priest, before Pilate, and then ultimately his suffering as he carries the cross and is crucified. So we read that entire account yesterday, and that is why it can be called Passion Sunday, because we read the entire Passion. Now, what we are going to talk about today, we are going to talk about why we have palms on Palm Sunday. So, as you probably guessed, we have palms on Palm Sunday because we not only read the gospel account of the Passion at this service, but we also read a little bit from the gospel at the very beginning. Now, it depends. You can do it different in different parishes, but traditionally what happens on Palm Sunday is you begin the Mass somewhere other than in the church. You begin the Mass possibly outside, maybe in the vestibule, maybe in a side chapel, but usually you begin the Mass somewhere else, and you receive your palms there. What happens is you go to this separate place and the priest blesses the palms. And then he also reads the account of Jesus entering Jerusalem. All four Gospels talk about this event. Jesus entered Jerusalem and people worshiped him as he entered. They sang out Hosanna, they laid palm branches in the street, and they basically carpeted the street so that Jesus entered as a king, as a God. They worshiped him. So we celebrate that, and then we too process into the church, waving our palm branches and singing, just as the people in Jerusalem did. However, we know that things changed, that Jesus would again process through the streets of Jerusalem a couple of days later, but it would be a much different scene. People would be spitting at him, screaming at him, pushing him, and he would be carrying the heavy wood of the cross. So we worship Jesus and wave palm branches as the people did when he entered Jerusalem, and then we join the procession into the church so that we can then focus on his Passion. So that is the symbolism behind Palm Sunday. So my challenge for you today, Sprouts, is very simple. I simply challenge you to keep track of that palm branch that you received in Mass yesterday. Remember that it is blessed. Remember what it symbolizes. It symbolizes worshiping Jesus. So keep track of it. And also, if you have time, ask your adult to find you a tutorial, perhaps on YouTube or somewhere else, that shows you how to fold your palm branch into a a cross. It can be very simple and very beautiful, and it's easier to keep track of this way. So keep track of your palm branch and come back tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to start talking about the other beautiful symbols that we will see in the liturgies this week. Holy Week has some of the most beautiful and remarkable liturgies of the whole year. We celebrate not only Jesus' death on the cross, but we also celebrate the institution of the Eucharist, the institution of the priesthood. It is an incredible week. So keep track of that palm branch, and I'll see you again tomorrow. That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God intended you to be. And finally, a quick note to the grown-ups. First of all, thank you for listening to the Catholic Sprouts podcast. I ask that you please consider sharing this podcast with another Catholic family you know. Send them an email, a text, or simply mention it the next time you see them. Please join me in the mission of helping each Catholic child truly sprout into the wonderful human that God created them to be.